And the fact that an upstanding and righteous gentleman like yourself is in that position with the only thing trying to be righteous in our lane is just more machinations of the devil. You should have a much better backstory when you pick me as an opponent.
You know what, man? I'm glad you at least, addressed it, because
when you talk to him and tell him what the truth is, he won't be able to refute it. I told you earlier, he doesn't know this. How could he know?
In his sights, NFL legend Shannon Sharpe. A brand new lawsuit was just filed in Nevada claiming Sharpe was manipulative and eventually a Jane Doe, with the latest claims allegedly happening as recently as January. We got our hands on the filing, and we're going to break down.
Better by herself when they come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get your old out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it. Damn. When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her.
Shannon Sharpe seemed untouchable. From NFL Hall of Famer to dominating the podcast world with Club Shay Shay, he was riding an incredible wave of success. But just as he stood on the verge of reportedly signing a deal worth over $100 million, a bombshell lawsuit exploded, threatening to shatter his reputation and career. The allegations are dark, the defense is fiery, and perhaps most unexpectedly, comedy's wildcard, Katt Williams, might just be watching it all burn down with a knowing grin. The nightmare for Shannon began when a lawsuit initially filed under the secrecy of Jane Doe landed like a grenade. The woman, later identified as Gabriella Zuniga, brought forward incredibly serious claims against the sports icon. She accused Sharpe of manipulation, controlling behavior, and, worst of all, assaulting her during their relationship. The initial filing painted a picture of a powerful man exploiting a situation, instantly casting a dark shadow over Sharpe's carefully crafted public image. This wasn't just a minor dispute, it was an accusation that could unravel everything he'd built. Digging into the details presented by Zuniga makes the situation even more unsettling. She claims their relationship started back in 2023 when she was just 19 years old, while Sharpe was 54. That staggering age difference alone raised immediate red flags for many, echoing uncomfortable themes of power dynamics. Zuniga alleged that the relationship turned ugly, detailing 2 specific incidents, one in late 2024 and another in early 2025, where Sharpe allegedly assaulted her from behind, ignoring her pleas and cries. The lawsuit vividly described her terror, alleging threats were made, including a chilling claim that he threatened to end her life. Furthermore, Zuniga accused Sharpe of recording their intimate moments without full consent, supposedly for personal use, only to later allegedly share these private videos with his friends multiple times. A deep violation of trust if true. But Shannon Sharpe wasn't about to let these accusations go unanswered. He came out swinging, launching an explosive defense through his legal team. They vehemently denied every allegation of non-consensual activity, framing the relationship as entirely consensual between 2 adults, albeit one involving role-playing, adult language, and fantasy scenarios. To back this up, they dropped a bombshell of their own, transcripts of incredibly graphic text messages allegedly sent by Zuniga herself. These texts included explicit requests, talk of dog collars, choking, demands for money, $25,000 per cheek she allegedly wrote, and bizarre statements about wanting Sharpe to put a big black baby in her. Sharpe's team presented these as undeniable proof that Zuniga actively participated in and even directed the kind of intense scenarios she was now claiming were assault. The defense didn't stop there. Sharpe and his lawyers immediately painted Zuniga's lawsuit as a blatant shakedown attempt, a cynical ploy orchestrated by her attorney Tony Busby to extort millions. They pointed to a secretly recorded video Zuniga possessed, claiming she had heavily edited it, twisting a consensual moment completely out of context to manufacture evidence of wrongdoing. This narrative of a calculated blackmail scheme became central to Sharpe's defense. Adding fuel to this fire was the identity of Zuniga's lawyer, Tony Busby. Sharpe's team likely knew Busby's name would ring a bell, as he was the same attorney who filed a high-profile but ultimately dismissed SA lawsuit against Jay-Z just a year prior. That history allowed Sharpe's camp to subtly suggest a pattern, planting seeds of doubt about Busby's motives and the legitimacy of the claims against Sharpe. Was this justice or just another attempt at a high-profile payday? Just when it seemed like a straightforward case of he said, she said, Tony Busby fired back, escalating the conflict dramatically. He dropped a major revelation. According to him, Shannon Sharpe had actually offered Gabriela Zuniga a staggering $10 million during mediation weeks before the lawsuit was filed, allegedly in an attempt to buy her silence. Busby stated Zuniga rejected this hefty offer, choosing instead to pursue the case publicly. He also countered the defense's narrative about the graphic texts, claiming they were all sent before the alleged assaults occurred, making them irrelevant to the specific incidents in question. Then came the audio clips. Busby leaked snippets where a voice, allegedly Sharpe's, could be heard making disturbing comments, including threats involving choking and unsettling remarks referencing race in a violent context. Busby declared these recordings disturbing and dangerous, painting a picture of a man Zuniga had to escape from. Looming over this entire legal battle is the massive figure, $100 million. News broke that Shannon Sharpe was finalizing a colossal new media deal for Club Shay Shay, potentially exceeding that 9-figure mark. The timing was impossible to ignore. The lawsuit landed just one day before this major announcement. Sharpe's lawyers seized on this, calling it textbook blackmail. They argued Zuniga knew about the impending deal and timed her lawsuit perfectly to exert maximum pressure for a payout. To further discredit her, Sharpe's lawyer publicly exposed Zuniga as an OnlyFans creator, suggesting her work involved paid role-playing and virtual fantasies, implying her claims against Sharpe were just an extension of this behavior, perhaps even charging Sharpe himself at some point. Busby naturally slammed these tactics as desperate attempts to victim blame and distract from the core allegations, insisting Zuniga wasn't afraid of the truth and welcomed a courtroom battle where facts, not PR spin, would matter. And just when you thought this couldn't get any stranger, Katt Williams enters the picture. Remember that viral, record-shattering interview Katt did on Club Shay Shay? The one where he aired out seemingly half of Hollywood? Well, according to street whispers and inside sources, the fallout from that interview created some serious friction between Katt and Shannon behind the scenes. Dave Chappelle famously criticized both men, accusing Katt of tearing down fellow black entertainers and questioning Shannon's role in facilitating it. Reports suggest Shannon felt the interview turned his show into a circus and subtly tried to distance himself, putting the blame squarely on Katt for the controversy. Now, with Shannon facing his own devastating scandal, sources claim Katt Williams is anything but sympathetic. He's reportedly watching Sharpe's ordeal unfold with a sense of vindication, maybe even amusement, that "I told you so" energy radiating from the sidelines. Katt, known for holding grudges, might see this as karma for Shannon allegedly throwing him under the bus. So, here we are. Shannon Sharpe's empire hangs in the balance. On one side, you have gut-wrenching allegations of assault and manipulation, backed by disturbing audio clips and a rejected $10 million offer. On the other, a strong denial, claims of a consensual but kinky relationship supported by graphic texts, accusations of a multi-million-dollar extortion plot orchestrated by a lawyer with a questionable track record, and the suspicious timing near a monumental business deal. Add the simmering subplot of Katt Williams potentially enjoying the chaos from afar, and you have a situation that's as messy as it is serious. The public is split, the stakes couldn't be higher, and the truth remains buried under layers of accusations and counter-accusations. What really happened behind closed doors? And will Shannon Sharpe's legacy survive this storm? Only time and perhaps a courtroom will tell. Then came the audio clips. Busby leaked snippets where a voice, allegedly Sharpe's, could be heard making disturbing comments. These included apparent threats involving choking. Other leaked audio featured unsettling remarks referencing race in a violent context, specifically mentioning a big black guy and a small white woman in a disturbing scenario. Busby declared these recordings disturbing and dangerous. He used them to paint a picture of a man Zuniga felt she had to escape from, ultimately fleeing Nevada for her safety. Looming over this entire legal battle is the massive figure, $100 million. News broke almost simultaneously with the lawsuit that Shannon Sharpe was finalizing a colossal new media deal for his popular podcast, Club Shay Shay, potentially exceeding that 9-figure mark. The timing was impossible to ignore and became a focal point for both sides. The lawsuit landed just one day before this major career announcement was expected. Sharpe's lawyers seized on this confluence of events, calling it textbook blackmail. They argued Zuniga knew about the impending lucrative contract and timed her lawsuit perfectly to exert maximum pressure for a quick and substantial payout. To further discredit her, Sharpe's lawyer publicly exposed Zuniga as an OnlyFans creator. He suggested her work involved paid role-playing and virtual fantasies, implying her claims against Sharpe were merely an extension of this behavior, perhaps even involving her charging Sharpe himself at some point during their relationship. Busby naturally slammed these tactics. He decried them as desperate attempts to victim blame and distract from the core allegations of assault and threats. He insisted Zuniga wasn't afraid of the truth and welcomed a courtroom battle where facts, not PR spin or personal attacks, would ultimately matter. And just when you thought this tangled web couldn't get any stranger, Katt Williams enters the picture, adding another layer of intrigue. Remember that viral, record-shattering interview Katt did on Club Shay Shay? The one where he seemed to air out grievances against half of Hollywood and the comedy scene? Well, according to street whispers and inside sources, the fallout from that interview created some serious friction between Katt and Shannon behind the scenes. It wasn't all smooth sailing after the views counter stopped spinning. Dave Chappelle famously criticized both men publicly. He accused Katt of tearing down fellow black entertainers unnecessarily and questioned Shannon's role as the host in facilitating that particular brand of controversy. Reports suggest Shannon felt the interview unfairly turned his show into a circus and damaged its credibility. There were claims he subtly tried to distance himself afterward, putting the blame squarely on Katt for the dramatic content and subsequent backlash. Now, with Shannon facing his own devastating scandal, sources claim Katt Williams is anything but sympathetic. He's reportedly watching Sharpe's ordeal unfold with a sense of vindication, maybe even quiet amusement. That "I told you so" energy seems to be radiating from the sidelines. According to those allegedly close to the situation, Katt, known for holding grudges and speaking his mind, might see this as karma for Shannon allegedly throwing him under the bus after their infamous interview Zoo. So here we are. Shannon Sharpe's empire, built on athletic prowess and media savvy, hangs precariously in the balance. The situation is incredibly complex and deeply polarized. On one side, you have gut-wrenching allegations of assault, manipulation, and terrifying threats, apparently backed by disturbing audio clips and a story of a rejected $10 million settlement offer. On the other side, there's a strong denial from Sharpe, claims of a consensual but kinky relationship supported by graphic text messages, and serious accusations of a multi-million-dollar extortion plot orchestrated by a lawyer with a controversial track record. The suspicious timing near a monumental business deal adds another layer of doubt for observers, and the simmering subplot of Katt Williams potentially enjoying the chaos from afar adds a final, unexpected twist to this unfolding drama. The public remains split, the stakes couldn't be higher for Sharpe's career and reputation, and the absolute truth remains buried under layers of conflicting accusations and counter-accusations. What really happened behind closed doors between Shannon Sharpe and Gabriella Zuniga? And will Shannon Sharpe's legacy ultimately survive this ferocious storm? Only time and perhaps a courtroom will reveal the final answers.